The sponsorship relationship, developing it and sustaining it. Developing and sustaining the sponsorship relationship. Relationships require work. Most people have difficulty being vulnerable, learning how to trust and to be trustworthy, and making a commitment. For addicts, these things are especially hard. Many of us did not have great role models when it came to mutual respect and kindness. In our addiction, we ran from intimacy, often shutting out those who cared most about us. In sponsorship, we have a rare opportunity to learn from each other, teach each other, and care about each other. Sponsorship shows us how to work with others while getting to know ourselves. We can learn to trust. Naturally, the relationship is not always going to be easy. We are going to make mistakes. But we become willing to take risks and face those fears that keep us from experiencing rich and meaningful relationships. Through sponsorship, we can learn to live and love more fully. Sometimes a sponsorship relationship unfolds easily from the beginning. Both members feel comfortable with each other almost immediately and share with open enthusiasm. Other times, making the effort to get to know someone else can seem difficult or nearly impossible. Learning how to communicate well is one of the ongoing challenges we face along the path of our recovery. Honest self-disclosure and mutual respect can provide a strong foundation upon which to build this exceptional relationship. Frequent contact with our sponsor or sponsee may help to open our hearts and allow intimacy to develop. I haven't. Many of us have unrealistic expectations of what a sponsorship relationship should be. We may always want to have the right answer for those tough questions our sponsees ask. We may want to be the favorite sponsee doing the right thing all the time. Some of us will see sponsorship as a way to have the best friend we never had in our lives. These desires are not wrong or harmful, but placing conditions on what we want or what we think we need limits our possibilities and may slow down our growth. Staying clean and keeping an open mind often bring gifts beyond what we ever imagined for ourselves. A dynamic and meaningful bond between a sponsor and sponsee depends on a solid foundation of willingness. This includes willingness to walk through difficulties without letting fear or anger damage or destroy the relationship. Our sponsor may challenge us, asking us to look at something uncomfortable, or perhaps we may challenge our sponsor, wanting something more or something different than we are getting. Sometimes the initial reaction on either part is defensiveness. We may even exchange harsh words or say things we later regret. As in any relationship, the courage and humility required to resolve these issues often take the sponsorship relationship to an even deeper level. Both members must be motivated to work together, committed to their own personal recovery, and willing to learn more about the spiritual principles of NA. Whether we are the sponsor or the sponsee, this relationship provides one of our most basic links to the Narcotics Anonymous program and can show us how to live the solutions the steps have to offer. It is imperative we are the sponsor or the sponsee. This relationship provides one of our most basic links to the Narcotics Anonymous program and can show us how to live the solutions the steps have to offer. It is imperative that I examine my motives whenever I agree to sponsor someone. Ego has no place in my decision-making process. With the guidance of my higher power and an earnest desire to help another addict, I am able to build a relationship based on unconditional love and commitment. Entering into sponsorship is risky. Sharing some of my most intimate truths can be scary. However, I trust that my higher power is in the midst of the relationship and will help me to share freely. Truth breeds trust, and the more truths we share, the more trust develops. The more I give, the more I get, and this process helps to sustain an enduring relationship. Staying clean, working the steps, and working with our sponsors do not exempt us from the realities of living life. Sometimes we come face to face with life's most difficult circumstances. Our relationships with our sponsor and sponsees can offer the support and understanding we need to keep moving forward. We are all survivors, and we try to do the best we can. We find blessings here and now that many people never get to experience in their lifetime. We have a common thread holding us all together. We share in the recovery from a devastating disease. When I was using, it seemed that my heart had turned to stone. I had seen and been through so much that I could no longer cry or feel, and I doubted that I ever would again. This changed for me when I was hearing my first sponsee's fifth step. She shared about being beaten by her stepfather, and as she talked, I could see her little body being hurt by him. Instantly, I remembered being hit by my own father, and my heart broke open with sadness for us both. Her honest sharing was the connection back to emotional life for me. While I cried, she remained dry-eyed. She was only 6 months clean. The time for her own emotional awakening was yet to come. As we grow in our sponsorship relationship, we become aware of the impact of working the NA principles. We start to see the results of applying the steps and traditions in our daily life, in the lives of those around us, and in how we see our place in the world. NA helps us to stay free of drugs, but soon we come to realize that growing in recovery goes much deeper than not picking up drugs. I've become less motivated by the need to be liked by my sponsees. By that, I don't mean I have become less gentle or loving, but that I've given up my people-pleasing tendencies. I can be more comfortable being honest, even when I'm talking with someone who may become defensive, angry, or hostile. I've learned how to stand up for my beliefs and to practice the spiritual principles NA has taught me. I now have more experience in giving guidance and direction to sponsees, always trying to use the 12 steps as the basis of the solution. This, in turn, has also helped me to be a more open-minded sponsee, better able to trust my sponsor and reveal what's really going on in my head and heart. Since I trust myself more, I've learned to trust others more. I can listen more open-mindedly to constructive criticism, suggestions, and those old, hard truths I sometimes have a difficult time seeing without another person's perspective. Today I trust that my sponsor loves me unconditionally and truly understands me with a heart of empathy and helpfulness. Through the process of working the steps together, we find that what can start out as a seemingly unbalanced relationship, with one person doing all of the helping, develops into the two-way street we hear so much about, with each addict helping the other. Some members will experience sponsorship as a loving and unconditional bond, while others will see it more in terms of the instruction or even discipline that it can offer. However our sponsorship relationship develops, we do our best to help each other. The process of working the steps with my sponsees never ceases to amaze me. I continue to grow in my personal recovery because of the fresh perspectives their interpretations of the steps offer. Each time I sit down with a sponsee to go over step work, I get new revelations. The words on the pages of our literature seem to come alive and speak to me like never before. Sometimes it's as if I've never before seen certain passages or heard a particular concept or spiritual principle. I thank God for my sponsees and their contribution to my recovery.